Welcome to the Mental Edge. If you've ever wondered why we sometimes make choices that seem, well, kind of irrational, you're in the right place. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of cognitive biases, those sneaky mental shortcuts that can seriously mess with our decision-making. You know, our brains are amazing, complex organs. They process a constant stream of information, making sense of the world around us and helping us navigate daily life. But in their quest for efficiency, our brains sometimes take shortcuts. And those shortcuts, my friends, are what we call cognitive biases. Think of it like this. Your brain is like a powerful computer running on limited battery life. To conserve energy, it develops these little cheats, these mental shortcuts, to help it process information faster. But sometimes, these shortcuts can lead to some pretty illogical conclusions. Let's talk about confirmation bias, the first of our mental gremlins. Imagine you're convinced that a certain sports team is going to win the championship this year. You've got a good feeling, you've looked at the stats, maybe, and you're ready to place your bets. Now here's where confirmation bias kicks in. You start seeking out news articles, blog posts, even social media rants that support your prediction. Every time you see a headline like Team X poised for victory, your brain does a little victory dance. See, it says, "I told you so." But here's the catch. You unconsciously start filtering out any information that contradicts your belief. Articles suggesting Team X might choke under pressure. Totally fake news, your brain declares. Those analysts who say their star player is past his prime. Haters. Confirmation bias is like having a personal cheerleader for your beliefs, but not in a good way. It's the tendency to seek out information that confirms what we already believe while ignoring anything that contradicts it. And it's not just about sports teams. We see this everywhere, in politics, religion, even our personal relationships. Think about the last time you had a strong opinion about something. Did you seek out diverse viewpoints, or did you surround yourself with information that echoed your existing beliefs? It's a tough question, but being aware of confirmation bias is the first step to breaking free from its clutches. Think about it this way. The universe is full of mysteries, and the more open we are to different perspectives, the closer we get to understanding its complexities. If we only ever listen to the voices that agree with us, we miss out on a universe of knowledge and understanding. We become trapped in our own little echo chambers, and that's not how we grow as individuals or as a society. So how do we combat this sneaky bias? It starts with being brutally honest with ourselves. Acknowledge that we all have pre-existing beliefs that can color our perceptions. Then make a conscious effort to seek out diverse viewpoints, even if, and especially if, they make us uncomfortable. Remember, challenging our own beliefs isn't about admitting defeat. It's about embracing the scientific method. It's about being willing to update our understanding of the world based on new evidence. And who knows, that new evidence might just lead us to an even more fascinating truth. Think about the great scientific discoveries throughout history. Many of them came about because someone dared to question the status quo, to challenge the prevailing beliefs of their time. Galileo Galilei, for example, dared to challenge the geocentric model of the universe, which placed the Earth at the center. His observations, though controversial at the time, helped pave the way for our modern understanding of the solar system. Similarly, Marie Curie's groundbreaking research on radioactivity challenged the existing assumptions about matter and energy, ultimately transforming our understanding of physics and chemistry. These pioneers, and countless others like them, didn't shy away from challenging the established norms. They embraced the unknown, even when it meant facing opposition and ridicule. So, the next time you find yourself clinging to a belief, ask yourself, am I being swayed by confirmation bias? Am I seeking out information that confirms my existing worldview, or am I truly open to exploring different perspectives? Remember, the true hallmark of an intellectually curious mind is the willingness to venture outside of its comfort zone, to embrace the unknown, and to constantly seek out new knowledge and understanding. Now let's talk about the sneaky phenomenon of anchoring bias. This one's all about the power of first impressions and how they can sometimes lead us astray. Imagine you're shopping for a new car. You walk into the dealership and the first thing you see is a shiny, top-of-the-line model with all the bells and whistles. The price tag? A cool $100,000. Now you know you can't afford that, so you move on to more reasonably priced options. You find a decent car for $30,000, but for some reason it just doesn't seem as appealing. It's like that first price tag, that $100,000 anchor, has skewed your perception. The $30,000 car suddenly seems cheap, even if it's objectively a good deal. That's the anchoring effect in action. It's our tendency to rely too heavily on the first piece of information we receive, the anchor, and use it as a reference point for all subsequent decisions. And it's not just about money. Anchoring bias can influence everything from our salary negotiations to our judgments of other people. Think about the last time you met someone new. Did their initial demeanor, their first impression, color your perception of them even after getting to know them better? We see this in astronomy all the time. When astronomers first discovered a new type of star, say a red giant, that initial discovery became the anchor. All subsequent observations of red giants were then compared to that first one. It's a natural way of categorizing information, but it can also limit our understanding. Just like that $100,000 car might make a $30,000 car seem like a steal, that first red giant might make other, even larger stars seem less impressive. It's all relative, and our brains are constantly making these relative judgments based on the anchors we've established. So, how do we break free from the grip of anchoring bias? Awareness is key. Recognize that the first piece of information we receive isn't always the most accurate or representative. It's just the first one, and it can disproportionately influence our thinking. Just as astronomers have developed sophisticated tools to measure the properties of stars more objectively, we can develop mental tools to challenge our own biases. We can seek out multiple perspectives, gather more data, and make a conscious effort to consider all sides of an issue before forming an opinion. Think of it like navigating by the stars. Sailors in ancient times relied on celestial bodies to guide their way, but they knew that relying on a single star could be misleading. They used multiple stars, constellations, to get a more accurate fix on their position. Similarly, we can use multiple sources of information, multiple perspectives, to navigate the complexities of decision-making. Don't let a single anchor dictate your course. Chart your own path, guided by critical thinking and a healthy dose of skepticism. Remember, the universe is full of wonders, and our brains are constantly trying to make sense of it all. But by understanding our cognitive biases, we can become more aware of the mental shortcuts we take, and we can make more informed, more rational decisions. Now, let's talk about a cognitive bias that's all about mental shortcuts and how they can sometimes lead to some pretty skewed perceptions. It's called the availability heuristic, and it's all about how our brains tend to overestimate the importance of information that's most readily available to us. Think about it this way. Imagine you're watching the news, and there's a big story about a shark attack. It's all over the headlines. The footage is terrifying, and you can't help but feel a shiver down your spine. Suddenly, the ocean seems like a much more dangerous place, even though statistically, you're more likely to be struck by lightning than attacked by a shark. That's the availability heuristic in action. The vividness and emotional impact of that news story have made it more readily available in your mind, leading you to overestimate the likelihood of a shark attack. We see this all the time in our daily lives. A friend tells you about a bad experience they had at a certain restaurant, and suddenly, you're less likely to want to eat there, even if you've heard dozens of positive reviews. Or maybe you read a few articles about a particular political candidate's scandals, and now you can't shake the feeling that they're untrustworthy, even if their policies align with yours. Our brains are wired to prioritize information that's easily recalled, and that often means information that's emotionally charged, sensationalized, or simply repeated frequently. It's like trying to find a specific book in a library. The books that are most readily available are the ones on the new arrivals shelf or the ones that have been checked out countless times. their covers worn from frequent handling. Those books might be interesting, but they don't necessarily represent the full breadth and depth of the library's collection. Similarly, the information that's most readily available in our minds might not always be the most accurate or representative of the bigger picture. It's just the information that's easiest to access, and it can lead us to make judgments and decisions that aren't always in our best interests. So how do we combat this tendency? It starts with being aware of the availability heuristic and how it can influence our thinking. When we catch ourselves making snap judgments or relying on anecdotal evidence, we can pause and ask ourselves, am I being swayed by the availability heuristic? Is this information truly representative, or am I just drawing on what's easiest to recall? Just as a librarian can guide us to hidden gems within the library's collection, we can seek out diverse perspectives and gather more information before forming an opinion. We can consult experts, read widely, and engage in thoughtful discussions with people who hold different viewpoints. Remember, the world is a complex place, and our understanding of it is constantly evolving. By challenging our assumptions, seeking out diverse perspectives, and being mindful of our cognitive biases, we can make more informed decisions, navigate the complexities of life with greater clarity, and continue to learn and grow throughout our lives. So, there you have it. Confirmation bias, anchoring effect, and the availability heuristic. These mental shortcuts are sneaky, but now you've got the tools to recognize and challenge them. Remember, our brains are constantly trying to simplify a complex world, and sometimes those simplifications lead to biases. But by understanding these biases, we can become more aware of our own thought processes and make more conscious, informed decisions. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to The Mental Edge. Drop a comment below about which bias surprised you the most, or if there's another you'd like us to cover. Thanks for watching, and remember, stay sharp out there.